day you leave work stressed and looking for some fun in the evenings. But thanks to a 70-hour work week and low income, you don't have many possibilities for relaxation. Sure, you can head to the pub for drinks. You can go on blind dates to find a partner. Go fish or jog outside, but this is not a good work-life balance. It's a rat race. If you really want to relax and you need higher income for you and your fellow workers, and the women on your team should be paid the same as the men. You want to work fewer hours each week, and taking vacation would be good too. Let's help the union and get the fix of this depressing lifestyle. This change might stress your employer, of course, but they already earn enough to be able to have a de-stressful life. Create a better, that is, more relaxing, life for your workers and their partners. Which team will relax the best and win finishing time?
Okay, that was a long intro, but hey, I'm Evan.
I'm Missy.
And today we are going to be reviewing the game Feierabend, aka Finishing Time.
Yep.
So, before we tell you what we think about the game, let's go to a quick how to play.
In finishing time, you are going to start with either 6 or 7 workers, depending on your player order, 4 strike tokens, and a variable amount of money. Every turn, you're going to put out a worker onto either the union board, the pub or home, or one of the different relaxation spots. The union board will gain you 3 strike tokens. Here you will lose $1 because you're buying a beer, but it gives you 2 relaxation. Here you can work at the bar and earn $2, but you also lose 2 relaxation for your second job. And at home, you get 1 relaxation for falling asleep in front of the television. You can put up to 3 workers across these spots, either all here. It just depends on what you want to do and how fast you want to be able to pull your workers back. The other spots that you can go to are the fishing hole for 2 relaxation, jogging for 3, or if you have a partner, you can go on a motorcycle ride with them for 4 relaxation. If you spend your strike tokens and decide to take a vacation, you can move up on the vacation track, and then your worker, when paying the amount of money, would go on a 1-week vacation. It cost $1 for 3 relaxation, but if you bring a partner, you pay double the amount, but 2 times the relaxation. And they would stay there until the end of the round. Now, if you had your track up to 2 or 3 weeks, at the end of the round, instead of pulling them back, they would move down the track. And that's how the vacation track works. For the amusement track, you can get a partner on a blind date here by paying $2 and gaining 1 relaxation. A partner just goes there, and now they are your partner and can come back when you pull back meeples. By paying $3 at the amusement park rides, you can get 5 relaxation. If you pay 4, you get 7. And if you pay 5, you get 9. If you bring your partner, you get an extra 2 relaxation. It does not cost extra for them. Now, if you want to go to the hotel with your partner, and only with your partner, it costs $1 and gains 6 relaxation. All these relaxations will move you up on the relaxation track. And you want to do that because once you pull back all your meeples and go back to work, you're going to currently be stressed out for 16 and move you all the way back. And if you are past this point when you move back, the only thing you can do at the end of your day is go commiserate at the bar until you get back into this area here. And at the end of the day, when you go back to work, you will gain strike tokens according to this track here. You will get paid according to this track here, but minus the gender gap here. So you can use your strike tokens at any time during one of your turns to move along these tracks by paying the required amount of strike tokens. And then it all starts over again by placing your workers out again. And that's how you play Finishing Time.
All right, well, there was a quick how to play. And as usual, we go over some certain categories when we're talking about a game. So the first category that we cover is theme plus mechanics. So how do you feel about the theme in this game?
It's interesting. There's not too many games that I can think of that are about working or actually working after work.
Yeah, so it says right in the instructions, it's an after worker
Game.
After worker placement game, which is a weird thing to say, but so it's what you do after work,
yes.
Even though it's a pretty basic worker placement game.
Yeah.
So as far as the theme goes, I think it's a home run because
it's unique.
Because what other game, like you said, what other game has you doing this sort of thing, at least thematically, right? Mechanically, not that different.
Right.
Thematically, fantastic.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy it. And the thing with with how the turn order works, or how the round structure works, I guess is what I'm thinking of. That is something I've also never seen in a game. Not saying it doesn't exist, where your round may end earlier than other people's rounds, which...
Yes, and you may be counting on somebody's round to end so they can get off the space that you want.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's interesting, but you don't want to end your round too quick, or you don't want to make it last too long.
Right.
So...
it's work-life balance.
So when we get to the strategies, we'll talk about that. All right. So I think as far as theme and mechanics integrated into it, fantastic.
Yeah, it works really well
Thoroughly
together.
enjoy it. So the next category is aesthetics and components. How do you feel about those things?
Well, I mean, I like it basically meeples and discs. That's fine.
As far as components, yes. So pretty basic, just
right.
Generic looking meeples. There's a couple of different ones.
Right. There's the smaller ones and bigger ones, and then there's the same for the pink partners.
Yes.
But the artwork is the same as, I don't know if it's the same as all Friedman Freeze games. Or
I don't know,
it's
but
just...
I wouldn't say all Friedman Freeze games, but because something like
well, I guess they're
Fabled
not
Fruit doesn't have this.
Right.
But
I don't love it.
You don't? See, I really like this art.
I don't love it.
Oh,
no.
Really? Okay. I actually really enjoy this art because I think when you look at the boards, these tiny little people, there's a lot of little details in the art.
Yes,
that I enjoy.
That's fine. I just don't like the people.
Don't like the people? Well, I mean, they're slightly exaggerated, caricature type art of people.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the way it looks.
It's fine. I just think it's could be better.
I think the art is cute, and I think there's a lot of fun details hidden in this art. So that's my thoughts.
Okay.
That's okay. All right. So the next thing is replayability and variability. How do you feel about those?
I mean, it's basically going to be the same game no matter how many times you play it, but you can change up your strategy a lot.
True.
So it's variable by the ways that you can go about trying to get to the end.
Yes.
But the experience is about the same every time you play it.
So I would say that because this game has no luck in it, the only thing that affects your turn is basically what the person ahead of you in turn order, or the people ahead of you in turn order did, like what spaces they took.
Yes.
So you kind of have to know that going in. I think there are always optimal spaces to go to.
Yes.
Like if that spot is open, you should take that spot.
You should strike. You should go on strike.
You should go on strike. Always take the strike token spot if it's open.
You should go on strike.
You should always take the highest level of relaxation spot that's open. Mm-hmm. If If you can't afford one of the really expensive ones, you should probably get the best one you possibly can get.
Yes. For the amount of money that you can spend, you should definitely take that.
Yes. But again, like, because someone else may have done that, then you kind of have to adjust your strategy based on that.
Right.
Or try to plan for when someone is going to be sending all their workers back to work.
Right. But sometimes you think they're going to do that. And then, oh, no, wait, I'm going to spend my turn spending strike tokens. And now here's a whole nother round that I have to go through before they get off that spot.
This is true. But since it's all open information, like you can predict that they might be doing that.
You can, but...
This is assuming that you're playing with people who are also playing optimally, which isn't necessarily always going to be the case.
True.
So as far as replayability, it's okay. Mm-hmm. And as far as variability, I think maybe the variability comes in with the different player counts.
Right.
The scores were vastly different between 2-player games and 4-player games. We played it 2, 3, and 4.
The 4-player was much closer.
The 4-player was much closer. And then when there's 2 players, so it does scale, however, with the different, because you puzzle piece the different pieces boards together, but some of the player counts are the same. So you're going to be bumping into each other more or less, depending on the player count.
And also what changes is how many worker meeples you get depending on what position you're playing in.
This is true. So sometimes it seems like having less workers is a bad thing, but it isn't necessarily. Right. because then you get to trigger your end of round faster, which you may or may not want to do. It's tricky. Yes. How about that? It's tricky, and I don't know that I've 100% figured it out yet.
No, there's a lot of options. Like I said, it's about the same game, but there's a lot of options for how you can play that same game.
True. Okay, so moving on to length versus experience. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I think it's fine. I think it goes pretty quick in that you're really only taking time to think of like where the best spot to go is, and is that person going to take my spot?
But I think it's usually obvious by the time it gets to your turn which spot you should go to.
Oh, yes.
So I feel like the turns go quickly, which is a positive, and I feel like the game flows pretty quickly, and usually before you know it, someone's creeping towards that 40-point threshold, which triggers the end game. So I like how snappy it plays.
Right.
And I think it is a satisfying experience in that length. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so too. I had fun experience every time we played it. I didn't think it took very long at all, even though it apparently felt sometimes that it was long, but it doesn't. So...
I didn't think so.
But the experience was good. I think so.
I think so too. So then moving on to strategies. How do you feel about strategies?
Well, like I said, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's so many tracks to choose from.
Right. So there is the track that lowers your work hours.
Yeah.
Which, when you go back to work, lessens the devastating blow of depression. because
that's true.
It's awful when you have to go back to work. And so interesting enough, in a 4-player game, there was definitely people who got stuck so far in the negatives that the only thing they could do on their turn was go to the bar and drink.
Yes, that was me.
And in lesser player counts, that never happened. In 2 and 3 players, that never happened. You were usually able to bump up your relaxation track enough. So
just enough, at least.
But yeah, it definitely in the 4-player game, it didn't.
No, there was 2 of us that got stuck being sad at the bar.
So maybe but it's hard to tell, right? So in a 4-player game, you might want to get up the less work hours track faster. But then you're doing that at the expense of going up other tracks, which include your income and your your gender equality track, which is basically income. It just affects how much income you don't lose.
Yeah.
And then I think the strike token, like the union support or whatever it is, tokens, I think those are always also very important.
Yes.
Because then you don't have to rely on the Union Hall spaces as much.
Yeah. I mean, you still want to, even though if I'm getting 8, I still want the extra so I can go as many on,
It's true, but then you don't have to rely on them as much.
True.
Because sometimes those spaces stay blocked for a long time.
Yes. That's because it's the first place that someone wants to go.
Yes.
So that's where their first workers go. And so there's going to be at least 6 more rounds where they're sitting there and blocking the space.
Correct. And then you can never max out all of those tracks. I just don't think that's possible. So it's hard to tell if doing a little bit of each is better than like trying to get as far as you can on a couple of them.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that yet.
No.
I kind of tried to experiment with that. I tried to get my work hours really low in one game, and I don't think I necessarily did very well. Like when I just focused on that. Or sometimes I can, there's also the vacation track. So the last game we played, I tried to, I didn't worry so much about income as just getting as much vacation as I could possibly get. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe that helped with the score, because you can get a big blast of points when you go on vacation. If you can get that 3 weeks of vacation with a partner. It's not too expensive, but as long as, if you have that money, that's a big point jump.
Right.
So I think... Yeah, I think there are multiple legitimate strategies.
Yeah, this last game that we played, I did the gender track right away because you're losing money. So
right.
And it's also one of the shortest tracks.
Yes.
So it's the easiest way to not lose money every turn or every round.
Right, lose income. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the strike token one is the one I did focus on second, just to get that up because... then you can work on the other stuff. But once that's out of the way, then the other stuff becomes way easier when you're getting 8 around.
Yes, true. Okay, so moving on to additional negatives. Do you have any additional negatives?
So I was going to make a joke because where is it at? This is my negative. The hotel that you can take your partner to in the amusement park board. It only cost $1.
Yeah.
This is a crappy hotel. I don't understand why it's only $1. It's for 6 relaxation. Okay, I understand the 6 relaxation, but are you really relaxing for 6 in $1 hotel outside of an amusement park? I don't think so.
That's funny.
I don't think so.
That is one of the optimal spaces.
It has bed bugs. I know it.
If you have partners and you have $1, there's no reason you should not be going to that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that is an unbelievable amount of relaxation for
very cheap
for what you're spending to get there.
I hope you're only spending an hour there because.
I spent it all night because then you got to go back to work the next day. So that is one thing that's a little weird with the theme is you're playing a group of workers that are all sharing an income, and I don't know if you all live at the same house.
It's a polycule.
I don't know what that word means.
Sure.
But so when you gain partners, you kind of also share those partners, so
polycule. That's what it means.
Okay. So thematically, there's just a little weirdness in there, but it doesn't really matter. Because you're basically relying on the mechanics of the game anyway, and the theme just kind of brings them to life. So as far as additional negatives, I kind of don't have any other than that. Just little nitpicks. So then that brings us to the question: is it fun?
It's very fun. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun too. Is it the greatest game in the world? Is it the most deep strategic game in the world? No. Is it fun and unique and something that I'm happy to have in my collection just because it's so, the theme is odd, the art is odd, and, the mechanics are familiar yet interesting? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes to all of the above.
Yeah.
Okay. So, before we wrap it up and give our final scores, let's go to some other opinions.
It was pretty fun. I liked it. A little long. But also I won both times I played this game, so it's actually the best game ever.
I am Steve. Okay. The game was decentish, but it was just too long for me.
All right, well, that wraps up this review. Some of those opinions I didn't necessarily agree with, but that's okay. Every opinion belongs to that specific person. So, yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give finishing time?
7.7.
7.7, huh? That's
Yes.
interesting. All right. Why not an 8 and why not a 7.5?
Because you said I can choose any number.
Okay, this is true. This is true. So if like 8 is like a great game, it's just below that then.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to give it a 7.5. If I was rating it on theme, it would have been a 10 out of 10, like 100%. Because I love unique themes. This has it. This does it for me. But as far as like a game that I'm going to want to play all the time, no. But a game that I might want to show someone who likes worker placement games and maybe they see something a little different, especially as far as theme. Yeah. So, I'm going to settle on a 7.5.
Nice.
Which is still a game that I like a lot. And again, happy to have in my collection. Okay. Any finishing thoughts?
I mean, I rated it pretty highly for a game that I've never won. Or because you beat me the first time too, didn't you?
No, I think you won.
Oh, did I win the first one? Oh, well, I definitely did the other 2 times.
I've never won this game. That's for sure. Sometimes I've had.
You came close last time.
Which is the closest I'd ever come, because usually my score was really bad because I was trying different strategies.
You beat me though.
That didn't always work.
You beat me that time.
So, hey, thanks for watching. Well, I guess we'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.
Bye.